I'm Frank Marcus, and I'm here outside Shanghai, China, getting to know the NIO brand, which just last night introduced its first compact car, the Firefly. Now, most Americans don't know anything about any of the Chinese brands, so let me tell you that NIO started out in November 2014, and like any smart EV startup, they started out making high profit margin executive type cars. So this one, though, to avoid watering down the NIO brand, they've started Firefly as a brand new brand. One of the questions you might have is, why should Americans care anything about Chinese cars? They're not coming to the US anytime soon. And my response to that would be that a lot of innovation in these NIO cars that we're seeing over here, we hope will inspire similar things to come to the US. So the Firefly is going to be the NIO of compact cars. They're looking for a high design, high feature content, high functionality competitor for the Mini and the smart cars over here. Right away, you can see style-wise, they've got a very interesting front end here. The vibe you get is a little bit like the Honda E, although larger than that car, and with the single headlights replaced with this sort of iPhone-looking triple arrangement. The size is nice and compact. It's rear-wheel drive, and the rear-wheel drive allows the front wheels to be decoupled so they can turn very far. This is a 31-foot turning circle, so easy to maneuver in tight urban areas, which is the whole point of this car. So one of my favorite features of the new Firefly EV is the ability for either front passenger to get in and out of the car from either side. They've left all this area in here free, so all I have to do is lift up the center armrest, slide right over here, and hop out the other side. Coming around to the side, we have black mirror caps and a black roof to set off the colors of the car, of which there are 5. A lot of them are quite bright like this one. We've got the look of the flush door handles, which are electric on the other NIOs, but they're manual on these ones. We've got a C-pillar that swoops up like this and wraps all the way around to give you this hoop look that gives you a faster look to the fastback, which is faked by this squared off black area, which does give us enough room in the trunk for 5 carry-on bags. In the back again, we've got the triple tail lights. We've got the pill-shaped oval here again, and I like that the button for the trunk is hidden up here in the wiper, and that all of the Fireflies will have a standard electric hatchback. So I just discovered that this Firefly EV, which starts at $17,000, has a little massage function and cooling for the seat, as well as heat, I presume. That's a very unexpected benefit of the car in this class. This whole interior is very upscale. Most cars at any kind of low price point like this would have a lot of black plastic. But I do really love that Firefly gives you 4 different color themes and 2 different seat themes, so 8 different choices for the interior. And they're fun colors, purple and green, and really interesting stuff that like nobody is doing hardly. We're lucky if we get beige. The home screen is very good looking, and it allows a lot of different differentiation too. This round part over here can show a very stylized clock with a second hand that goes around here like that. It also has this gallery image here, just sort of a fun, interesting picture. It'll give you a snapshot of the weather here, and it'll tell you what mode you're in, and even allow you to switch the mode. There's a 14-speaker sound system that we were sampling earlier that has Dolby Atmos as well. This car also gives you the option of 3 different levels of regenerative braking, full one-pedal driving, and also automatic regen, which some much higher-end cars also feature. And that's the type of thing where it will give you automatic regen if you're coming up behind someone who's stopping. It'll bring you to a stop. You don't have to use the pedal. Dynamically, this is certainly no Mini SE. It is softer suspended. It's not as powerful as the Mini EVs. This one has 141 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque, which they say is good for 0 to 60-ish miles an hour in 8 seconds or so. perfectly ample. What they do quote is a 3.1 second 0 to 50 kilometers an hour time, which is much more the type of work that this urban city car will be doing. These seats are covered in an Oecotex material, which supposedly meets some sort of standard that Europe has for things that are going to be up against a baby's skin. So I never heard of that before, but okay, there's a feather in their cap, another one. You know, I said before, one of the reasons for coming over here and evaluating these cars that are in all likelihood never coming to the US is to point out some of the neat things that they do that no one's really doing in the US. Some of that on this car has to do with the packaging. It's a really efficiently packaged car. Very, very short overhangs, maximum wheelbase per length in this class. And some of the ways they do that and still get a huge trunk that has room for 5 carry-on bags is the rear motor, but it's a 6-in-1 design, which is not universal in the US. That means it has the motor, the reduction drive, the differential, and all that is concentric with the motor. Lucid does some of that, but you know, that's a $100,000 car. And then it's also got the inverter and the DC-DC converter, and all of that stuff is packaged together, and the whole thing is very low profile. And they, of course, also still have a 92-liter, big enough for a carry-on frunk up there, which we looked at, and it even includes a drain plug, so you can fill the ice and have beverages up there if you want. There are 3 driving modes, normal, eco, and sport, which only affect the steering feel and the accelerator response. Sporty is obviously the most aggressive, and I found on the freeway, driving in that mode, you really had to be super careful with your pedal work, or else it ended up feeling a little bit jerky, which is fine. That's quite often what sport is. The weird thing was the normal mode still had quite a lot of that. I found that eco was the most comfortable on the highway. So, is the new Firefly EV a match for a Mini or a smart car? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. Every inch of this car seems to be designed just like in the Mini. So from that standpoint, it's spot on. It's a little softer riding, it's a little lower performing than a Mini, as befits the market here. I will tell you too, a few things that I really hope someone who sells cars in the US steals from this car, and that's the really brilliant packaging, the clever use of space everywhere, the really tiny motor in the back that leaves a lot of room for everything else, and the slide across front seat. I think that's a brilliant idea. So for the full story on NIO's Firefly EV, and to learn about all the other cars we're driving here in China this week, stop by MotorTrend.com.